Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June 4th, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting. Call the meeting to order. Under announcements, I did have one thing I wanted to mention. We'd like to congratulate Haley Springman for being the first place winner of the Massachusetts Municipal Association statewide 8th grade essay contest. Her essay about the benefits of solar energy demonstrated the best understanding of local government and gave an original viewpoint to an issue affecting our community. Her essay, along with other winners, will be published in The Beacon, which is the Mass Municipal Association's monthly publication. She'll win a cash prize of $500. Haley is a school choice student from Haydenville, attending Smith Academy. So I just wanted to give her some public acknowledgement for doing a great job on her essay. So thank you very much to Haley. There was also something, Marlene, regarding Pioneer Valley Regional Economic Development. Was there?
I just thought informational purposes, the conference that you and I attended at
In Springfield, yeah.
Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development Secretary, right, Mike Keneally?
Yep.
His office, I believe, hosted this event, and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito was there.
Yep.
And it was just a very interesting, actually Diana was there as well.
Yep.
And they had little, sort of like, I don't know, mini workshops.
Breakout sessions, if you will.
Yes.
Yep.
And whatever your interest was, there was, housing and also grant opportunities. But I just think that it was beneficial for Hatfield to attend that. And of course, our challenge is getting funding to support the sewer project, extended sewer out on Route 5 and 10.
Right. Yeah, and I would agree with you, Marlene. That the day was very informative, and we made it perfectly clear of while we were there when we talked about with the breakout session, we talked about the grants that we're going to reapply for at the MassWorks grant on Route 5. So the good news is, for what it's worth, they seem to know all about it when I started speaking to it. So hopefully we're going to be good to go with it. Did you have any announcements?
Just two quick ones. I want to thank everybody for coming to Memorial Day activities.
My calendar, I didn't have an agenda.
And also, Strawberry Festival
So I thought it was
is June
6:30.
15th.
Oh.
And one reminder, kids get out of school after the 14th, so drive careful out there, because everybody be on their bikes and stuff. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Diana, do you have anything under the
Just
public?
an apology for being late. I had written 6:30 on my calendar and
We just
didn't get an updated agenda, so.
we just started.
Okay.
Before we get into public forum, I guess the last announcement I'd like to make is this is our first televised meeting since the election. So I have a couple things I'd like to say. So I would like to thank Ed for having been the chairman of the board for the last year. I appreciate that personally, and I'm sure the town does as well. I'd like to welcome Diana to the Board of Selectmen. We look forward to the three of us continuing to move the town forward. And I'd like to thank Cindy Doty for her 2 years of service as a select board member these past 2 years. So just wanted to make those comments and to thank everybody. Okay.
Well, and thanks for stepping in his chair.
Yeah,
We'll go easy on you.
We'll thank the two of you. All right,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Thank you. Is there anybody here for public forum? Okay. And we do have one set of minutes if we want to take care of that, and then we'll get to our public hearing.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for 3/20/2019.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay, so there's a motion made. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions? There was one. Okay, thank you. So we're running a little late, our apologies. We do have 2 poll hearings with Verizon. So these are public hearings. So I am going to open the hearing as of today, June 4th. It is 6:25 at Memorial Town Hall. This is regarding a petition from Verizon for a pole on Linseed Road. So is there any discussion or any comments that we want to make here for the, are you here for that?
Yes.
So Al, right?
No,
Oh.
my name's Paul Davis.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah,
Okay. This was submitted by,
Al Bissett.
yeah, right.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
he's the right-of-way agent for Verizon.
gotcha, okay.
Right.
Could you just give a quick little, I mean, I know we have it in our packets, but just for people, this is a pole to go on to Linseed Road to expand the electrical and phone service in that area, potentially.
Yeah, so basically, to expand on that, Eversource is requesting a new pole for an electric upgrade. It's Verizon's responsibility to set the pole. That's the reason for the petition. So basically, on Linseed Road, jointly owned pole number T6.5 E5M on the southwesterly side of Linseed Road at a point approximately 698 feet northwesterly from the center line of West Street. That pole will be located.
Okay, so for the people that don't have this little map in front of them, this is on the bottom, somewhat on the bottom of Linseed Road as you go up the hill, is that correct?
Yes.
So behind RK
West
Miles?
Street, right.
Yep,
Yep.
okay.
And it'll be basically, if you're facing the pole, be about 18 feet to the left of it. And it'll basically mirror image what's there now,
Okay,
pretty much.
okay. Was there any public comment on this pole on Linseed Road? To Ed or Diana? Do you?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, so I'm going to
I will make a motion.
close the hearing.
Oh.
Yep, that's okay. So we'll close the hearing on the Linseed Road poll request. Okay,
I will make a motion to grant, do I have to read the whole thing?
I guess so, yeah.
I'll make a
Should be safe.
motion to grant the petition to Verizon as specified for the purpose of moving one jointly owned pole on the southwesterly side of Linseed Road at a point approximately 698 feet northwesterly from the center line of West Street to accommodate an electric system upgrade and to provide for distribution of intelligence and telecommunications and for the transmission of high and low voltage electric current.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, the second poll hearing is a petition from Verizon. Paul's going to speak to it, but it's a poll on Cronin Hill Road. So I will open that public hearing at 6:27 at Memorial Town Hall on Main Street. And at this point, are there any public comments regarding the Cronin Hill Road poll request?
I just have an inquiry. I think that there are two poles that are referenced that are already existing. And I know they're leaning rather substantially. Is there any plan to repair those or?
Do you know what numbers they are?
They're actually the two
The two
poles that you
existing
have on the plan that are existing.
Okay. As far as I know, no. Basically, what I know is what I'm petitioning tonight, to be honest with you.
For
So
for
I
the
don't-
new poll or for the
Right.
new location?
Exactly. Now, my guess would be that if they were to be replaced, they're gonna be replaced right next to the existing pole. So there would be no petition for that.
Yeah, it'd be like a swap out, is it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Is that answering your question or not really?
To be honest with you, I don't know if they're gonna be replaced or not. I haven't heard anything about that.
The non-answer is the answer.
But
That's fine.
the new pole, one of the new poles is only 18 feet from an existing pole, which is going to remain. I just,
No, the pole being petitioned tonight is 18 feet again to the left of the existing pole.
which says it's going to remain.
No, that pole will be removed.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
Oh, so they had-
Well, that's not what it shows on the plan. It says at the bottom where you've got the poles identified, it says poles to remain.
Yeah, they don't have a removal symbol on the petition plan in the legend. However, poles being petitioned, the existing poles are always removed, pretty much.
But
So these are,
may I just point to you have a,
Right, and
that
it's,
says existing jointly pole to remain.
right, exactly. But again, they don't have the legend, they don't have a symbol, a removal symbol in the legend for the removal. But it will be removed.
So I guess for these folks to feel comfortable, and I guess I'm putting you on the spot, I mean, is that a guarantee? Or is there some sort of,
Yes, I
not that we doubt you, but,
I do know
you know,
that,
we're looking
yes.
at the plan, so we
I
just,
do know that pole's been removed, correct.
okay.
That one, but not the, you said both are leaning.
Well, there were two, one is certainly closer to the other, that one's the one I'm obviously more concerned about, but the other one is also leaning.
Right. And I can mention that, I can relay that information when I submit this back to Al and have somebody go look at it.
Yeah, just because if we've got a leaning pole, we don't know if it needs to be braced, you know, with that additional, it's a single pole
It's a
leaning by
single
itself.
pole.
It doesn't have one of those secondary,
What essentially happened was someone came down Cronin Hill and hit it.
gotcha.
And
Okay.
it was replaced, but even when it was replaced,
Gotcha, okay.
it's still got a substantial lean to it.
All right.
But I definitely would ask them that the petition be amended to state that the pole 18 feet away is going to be removed.
If I could speak to that for a second, I think I can
Yeah, I was
help
just
provide
gonna-
some input.
yep.
My name is Nicholas Langoni, representing Eversource. And if I could show you maybe this drawing, if you could elucidate which is or
And Nicholas.
part of my lack of mobility. So we probably have a slightly different sketch. Was it, which pole do you reckon it was? Did these match up at all? So this is the new pole, right here. Adjacent, each pole to the side of it is also being replaced, and also the next one as well.
So because it
Okay,
says
but
on
then
here
you-
that they're remaining.
Then,
The
but
plan,
so are the red ones the ones to be installed?
yes.
So there really will be two poles 18 feet apart,
The plan was to remove the green ones here,
right?
replace them with red ones. So
But
we're
these-
petitioning for a new pole, and then some of the poles, the adjacent ones and the one to the north, are going to be removed and replaced. So I reckon that the leaning ones, if those are it, would be
Would-
straightened out and rectified in that process.
And the replacement of poles do not require a public hearing.
Existing do not. If
Correct.
we're just taking what's there and replacing them, those don't require.
Right.
um,
Okay.
Right, but this gentleman just indicated that it would be removed, and now you're saying it's not going to be removed.
Well, replaced and removed, maybe, it could be a terminology issue there.
Well, that determines how many poles are actually going to be there.
Right.
So if you're saying now there's going to be two poles that are going to be essentially 18 feet apart, correct?
Right now, there's 2 poles, and the request is for a third pole. That's how I'm reading the petition.
But if we're both looking at the same document,
Yeah,
and I don't know if we are we?
yes.
So if you look at the,
Mhm.
more to the top of the page.
Right.
There is a pole that exists, and it says existing jointly owned pole to remain. And then there's the new proposed pole. And that, in this plan indicates that it's 18 feet away from the other.
Right.
I'm just suggesting that that's rather close. Now, the gentleman sitting in the first row indicated that upper pole would be removed. The other gentleman says it's not.
If I could continue, so based on our drawing, so the 18 feet away, there are going to be 2 poles 18 feet from each other.
So you require that pole for,
Correct.
for the equipment being installed?
Correct, so the
Okay.
the equipment that we're installing is actually, it spans that 18 feet.
Gotcha.
The piece of equipment is called the voltage regulator, and the purpose of that equipment is, so that location is kind of far from the substation, and so as you travel from the substation out to the ends of the circuit, there's a natural decrease in voltage as you get to the end, and this essentially acts as a booster, so customers that are kind of on the outskirts of the circuit will benefit from this by having more consistent voltage and less voltage drop, and so that's kind of what the equipment's for. Again, it's called the voltage regulator. And this piece of equipment, it kind of rests on like a platform that spans 2 poles. And so that's why those 2 poles are kind of close to each other to hold the equipment. So that's what the new pole is for.
Is the cable run currently in existence, already running along that path, and the new pole's going to be basically in the middle of that?
Correct.
All right, so there's no, so the only additional components are going to be the new voltage,
Voltage regulators.
voltage regulators. So we're looking at a pole to shore up the wiring, the cabling, the voltage regulators. And the 2 poles that exist, it sounds like, will be replaced,
Correct.
which don't need the public hearing, but just so these people know that because they're leaning, or for whatever reason, those are going to be replaced as well.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
They're not going to put them back in crooked, they're going to.
No, I understand that. But I just, if the residents, just want to make sure that we all have a clear understanding of exactly what the plan is. So in essence, it's to replace 2 existing poles where they are and add a 3rd pole in the middle.
Well, it's not in the middle, it's 18
Well-
feet from one pole.
Between
and
them.
About 167 feet from the other.
Right, well, but between the poles.
Yeah,
Which is across this room, more or less, about 18 feet. Each tile's 4 feet across, so 4, 8, 12. So sort of like, that's your distance.
Are there any other, so did that answer your question?
That does answer my question.
Okay, are there any other comments regarding the petition for Cronin Hill Road, the pole, from any residents or? Okay, so thank you for your explanations. All right, so seeing no further or hearing no further explanation, I'm going to close the public comment section and close the hearing. And now we'll need an action or a decision as to how we want to move forward.
I'll make a motion that we grant the petition to Verizon as specified for the purpose of placing 1 jointly owned pole on the northwesterly side of Cronin Hill Road at a point approximately 1,548 feet southwesterly from the center line of Depot Road to accommodate an electric system upgrade and to provide for distribution of intelligence and telecommunications and for the transmission of high and low voltage electric current.
I'll second it.
All right, so you've heard a motion, it's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Motion carries. All right. All right. Full house. John? All right, so under posted business, thanks, Paul. Topic number 2, to discuss the status of the Town Government Committee. So the Town Government Committee was formed after last year's May town meeting, the May 2018, when the vote at town meeting was to research if the town should go from 3 to 5 members, what would it take? And so the board on more than one occasion requested volunteers from the public to be part of a study committee. Ultimately, we only had 3 people sign up for or apply or show any interest in being on that committee, and that was David Keir, Larry Grossman, and Chris Smith. Those 3 gentlemen then spent the next few months through the spring and fall gathering the information in hopes of presenting it to town meeting this year. Due to a last-minute legal opinion, that article was never brought forward. I give that short background simply to say, since the article hadn't been brought forward and that there hasn't been a decision up or down by town meeting, I believe that the committee, which should have ended, or the charter for them was to end on June 1st, just continue to move forward to answer questions and bring any information that people may have. So that's what this discussion on tonight's posted business is about, is basically extending the committee for 6 months or a year or something, so that as this unfolds, they are available to answer questions in that capacity. Yeah?
Okay, I've been looking at that, and I think when you only have 100 people or so come to town meeting, then you have like 700 people vote, I think we're putting the cart before the horse in a way. Before we spend any more money on legal and time, why don't we just have, the next time we vote, a non-binding question to ask the town if they want to go 3 to 5, and then if the town majority says so, they can always go back to the governance committee's reports and stuff, and then we can start the process, because we're talking possible charter, we're talking more legal fees, we're talking a lot of stuff, and what if the town votes against it? So I just say, if the governance committee last time was here and they were sort of asking who was in favor of this, I think the best way to reach the people is a non-binding question at the voting box, because that's where the majority of people come to. And then we don't have to spend any money until that time on lawyers' fees or research and all that stuff. That's just how I feel. I don't see spending any more time until the whole town makes a decision. That's my opinion.
I would agree with that.
Did you want to say anything further on that?
No, I mean, I do think it's a waste of money and a waste of time until we take the pulse of the town.
So and all I would say is that wasn't what my question was. My question was to keep the 3-member committee together to answer questions that may arise down the road. It wasn't to go any further and do any further research. It was just to, rather than have them disband as of June 1st, it was, do we want to keep them together as a committee since they've already garnered all the information?
Well, they've already posted their report. They've already did a video for answers and questions, and the last time they were here trying to answer stuff, only 2 people showed any interest. So I say we don't do anything until the town takes a non-binding vote at the ballot box. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I don't really see a need to keep it going. I would echo some of what Ed says until we have, a determination from townspeople. I have yet to talk to anyone who supports it. I'm sure there's people out there that do, but I have yet to talk to anybody that's supportive of it. And I just feel like we are, spending a lot of time and to some extent some resources on it. And it's easy enough to put something on a ballot. And then we don't need to go back to square one. The work has been done, but on the other hand, there's no harm leaving the committee going until we know, and then if there's no interest, we disband. If there is interest, they're already sitting to move forward.
So I will tell you that I don't disagree with either of what you're saying, but I guess I just want to be clear, and then we can move on. If this were to be a vote at the ballot box, binding or non-binding, whatever the decision of the Board of Selectmen ultimately is, who in the meantime is going to answer any questions that townspeople have regarding what is this vote about? Is it going to be the 3 of us, or is it going to be one of those guys because the committee's still
They've
there?
already submitted their questions and answers. It's all online. They have a video. I mean, everybody that was interested reviewed it already. They've submitted their report. They put it online. So, I mean,
Well, so the vote, should it be to a ballot, we're looking in May. So if anybody has a question between now and May, you can look it up online, because there won't be a committee to talk to. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to make a motion that the town government committee be expanded until June 30th, 2020. Is there a second?
I'll second that. I don't have a problem with keeping
Okay, so
the
is there?
committee going.
All right. So under.
But I don't want us going into legal stuff and all that. That just doesn't make sense.
Diane, I agree. My intention is, and I know I'm getting a rap on this, he's for it, he's whatever. Listen, townspeople, a year ago, it was overwhelming at town meeting. Now, one person voted against finding out more information about what it would take to go from 3 members to 5. All Brian's trying to do is bring that forward so townspeople now can say and vote, do we want to go from 3 members to 5? I've got no skin in the game, doesn't matter to me. I think we should do it because every other committee in town has 5. I think it's the right thing to do, but that's my opinion. But this, for me, is about letting you, the townspeople, make the decision. You don't have it 1 year and then not come back with an answer so that people can have their say on it.
Well,
That's our form of government. We're
That's
town
fine.
meeting.
I mean, we do differ on this topic,
Yeah.
which is okay.
Yeah, of
but
course it's
I don't-
okay.
I don't want to see the committee calling up legal and spending a lot of money because.
Ed, I agree.
every time they
Their
answer
job
that
is done,
phone-
but somebody needs to be able to answer a question that a townsperson has about the process. And they've already done all the legwork. That's all I'm trying to do.
In
I'm
what
not asking them to
form?
do anything more.
Okay.
But that's me. I'm simply, we already extended it once because we thought this was going to be, I forget when, sometime in the fall. And then we expanded it to June 1st, figuring, by then town meeting will be over and people will have voted yay or nay.
But I mean,
But
if
June
if
1st
this
came and
at
they,
the
you
very
know.
beginning had gone to the ballot box to find out, then all the other stuff could have occurred. If the majority of the town wanted it or not. It should have went to the ballot box at the beginning.
Well, we can't go back,
That's all.
right? The idea that what town meeting
non-binding-
said was do the research, and that's what we
Non-binding
did.
Question. So they did research, the research has been done, the questions or answers are online.
And we
it's all
couldn't vote
there.
on it at town meeting because it got dismissed.
Well, because there's bigger issues with it.
There's a
than
charter,
just what-
possible
I-
charter.
and I understand that.
3
Yeah,
Right,
now
I
we
mean, it's a
know the
big,
answer.
much larger deal than,
Cost another 10, it might cost
Yeah.
a lot of money to do this.
Well, okay, let's not just say that it's going to cost or not going to cost, because we have no idea what that's going to be. So the motion's been made and seconded to expand or to extend the government committee till June 30th of 2020. Not to do more research,
No
not to do more
legal
research,
fees.
it's to be available for townspeople to ask questions as far as what they know about going from 3 to 5. That's the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries 2 to 1. Committee's been expanded to extended till June 30th. Mr. Genovese. Looks like we're going to talk about some transfer station fees. How are you, Phil?
I'm good.
Good.
So in your packet, you have some increases in the transfer station fees. We did, as you can see by all the backup sheets, we polled other communities and also Valley Recycling there in East Hampton, and we haven't done anything since I've been here as far as increasing fees at the transfer station. Of course, the cost of business has risen, and we don't know what's going to happen in the 2020 contract with the MRF. So I think it's time we took a hard look at it, and it's not anything out of the ordinary. I mean, it's very compatible with other communities, and, we're not trying to have this a money-making proposition. It's just, it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. Well, our costs have gone up, on the dispose
Correct.
of. and-
Like I said, since I've been here, so that's 10 years, it's
Right.
not been increased at all, so.
Yep,
It was time to look at it.
nothing seems to be exorbitant, so. Sure.
Do the fees that support the transfer station also go towards maintaining the brush pile?
No. It's mostly the cost for the utilities, the staff, and the hauling of, whatever, the recyclables and the trash.
John.
Just curious, do you have a sense of how many people, of the total available people, have a sticker for the transfer station?
I want to say it's about 600 to 700 people that have stickers.
You know, we just completed we're
Yeah.
completing a survey, and I'm just trying to think,
I'm trying to
because that
think. I
information
thought
was
that was
filled
the
in.
number.
Out of what, probably, there's what, how many households?
Well, that's the
1,300.
question is the number of households.
Yeah, there's 13,
That
about
have-
1,300,
So
because that's what the water bills are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about that.
Louise?
Could I just ask that Phil tell us what the fees were and what he is proposing in the new budget?
Sure.
It's pretty limited.
Yeah, there's,
There's quite a few, so.
Is there one particular thing, Louise, you're
Well, I was
interested in?
thinking, is it the annual residence?
No, the sticker price is not going up. It's just the cost of the bags went up 50 cents. And then anything you bring there, like, for instance, a propane tank or tires and things like that. So the sticker fee is the same. We didn't increase the sticker fee.
So the sticker fees are what they always were?
Yeah, the annual stamp sticker, yes,
Those
the
have
annual
not
fee.
changed?
No, no, no.
go ahead, Mike.
Question as well, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So is there a goal to break even with the costs of the transfer station, or?
The transfer station it was, back a few years, almost self-sufficient.
So break even, basically.
Break even.
Okay, and
But
if it
we
doesn't
have-
break even, then
Money
the
comes from
money's
somewhere
coming
else.
from,
The town.
Taxation.
Correct. Because the transfer station does not have a revolving account. if I'm correct.
and do you have numbers that show what the deficit's been over the last few years?
We probably could get them, I mean, we don't have them in hand, because the town, at town meeting, supports
Yeah,
the transfer station operation.
Just like any other.
yeah. So it's-
We are
it's-
anticipating a cost increase
We
to
are.
haul the trash. There will be a new agreement with a recycling facility, or, yeah.
Yeah.
recycling
You know,
facility.
there's no way DEP would have notified us and every other community that runs a transfer station to get it through town meeting now and to take a hard look at what you are charging without them foreseeing the cost of recycling going up.
Right. Right. And that is something we already discussed at this last
Did
town
discuss it.
meeting.
I mean,
in advance of.
our recyclables used to get $40 a ton, and now they're down to $8, so, you know. And they're gonna go down more. You know, someday, in the near future, you might be paying to haul the recyclables somewhere.
Yeah.
Plus, the compactor is original to the transfer station. I mean, we put, quite a bit of money into it, but someday it's just not gonna work anymore. You know, we are working on a grant program to see if we can get a cardboard compactor through a grant, so.
Louise?
I just have one other question. Is the reduced rate for the elderly population still based on a single person in the house? Or are you now granting that lower rate even if there are two people in the house?
That was done a few years ago, I believe.
And is that something maybe you should reconsider with the reduction is based on a single person?
I mean, sure we can. I mean, we can go back to the way it was. I have no problem with that. It's just, I mean, that's something we would just have to change in the cover letter.
I mean, I don't know how much money that produces, but two people in a house are obviously have a lot more trash than a single person in the house.
But they pay for
So
their trash.
they would pay
I
for it by
mean,
the.
yeah, they
increase
pay
the
for their
bag.
trash as they go. I mean, it's just
By the bag.
It's
It's
just
just the
the
access to the
regular
facility.
sticker that, yeah, it's access to it, then
Well,
they,
and it includes their recycling, which is what's costing you more money. The fee for your permit is covering basically the recycling. Your bag sticker is paying for the guy that hauls it out.
Well, have you done a projection on what the increased revenue would be for the town with what these new
No, all
prices would?
we know that DEP said to take a look at all of your costs as far as what you charge. So we did a
Right.
survey throughout other communities, and we see that we were low in a lot of areas, so we increased them. And with the cost of the recycling coming on board, maybe it won't. We don't know that yet. We don't know that. We won't know that till 2020, so.
Right, but there's no way of determining, taking the numbers of the participation level at this point and assume that there's a, what's called in business an inelastic demand curve, meaning that if prices
Well-
go up, people are still going to.
Well, we know that the electronics, we'll just take the electronics,
Yeah.
what we were charging was costing us money. What was costing us money to get rid of, as far as electronics. So,
I mean, I just think it would be nice to, have some sort of an estimate that if we went ahead with these kinds of increases, it would generate another $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year or
Well, the
whatever.
next year, though, you're gonna sign a new contract, and you're gonna have totally different costs, potentially.
Well, I'm not talking about costs, I'm just talking about, what his revenue, new revenue estimate would be. That's all I'm talking about, that's what he's proposing tonight. I mean, I understand that costs are going up, but
Okay.
anyway.
Do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Ed, do you have any questions for Phil? I think that's something we could find. I mean, obviously, it's not an exact science, but it would give us a ballpark of what, we're gonna, what we're gonna need. I mean, ultimately, it seems like, or according to Phil, we haven't upped the prices in 10 years anyways. We know the costs have gone up and we're not breaking even anymore. So we just don't know exactly how much this is going to bring in.
it could be longer, I know, it could be longer that the prices haven't gone up.
No, I know, you're.
It is longer.
It's from when you've been here, but I think to Mike's point, it might be worth saying, we project that this will bring in an additional X, Of course, you'd have to know how many you collect on an average basis of TVs and propane tanks, and I don't know that we track that. Maybe we do, so I think it's going to be a guesstimate, right? So,
For now.
yeah, okay.
Wouldn't you track that? Why wouldn't you track that?
No, I don't know if we track it.
What's a propane tank and what's a TV?
Well,
I don't know what we.
yeah, I mean, they're two separate items. I assume there's a.
Well, we know how many tanks, we can track like a propane tank, or how many electronics come in. We can track that.
Right.
Do you track it?
But I mean, unless you did an average for the last 5 years, you know what I mean? It's going to be a ballpark, so, yeah.
Well, we certainly know how many stickers we sell.
Right.
Key and one will take great.
Right.
But stickers just
Of
pay
those
for the
brands.
track.
Stickers
know
we
how many
can-
bags
right.
we sell,
Right, the
obviously.
stickers are
The
easier
stuff
to
going
figure.
up is the
right.
tires, the
Right.
electronics,
Yeah,
the
so
The bulk
debris,
items or
the
whatever.
bulk
right.
items.
So the different, we know how much money we collected this fiscal year, I assume that accounting has those numbers. So we can subtract the revenue from the sticker and from the bags, and the rest is all this other stuff that we're talking about. And so you just make some assumptions that, and you do a revenue
But I
projection.
think for the purposes
not
of
to
tonight,
belabor it,
and
but-
getting done what you need to get done,
Yep.
I'm going to make a motion that we, let's see, you want me to, is the part in the highlighted part, do we need to do it that
I just
specifically?
think probably as proposed, new fees
Okay,
as
I'll
proposed
make
by
a
the
motion
DPW
that
director.
we set the new transfer station fees as proposed.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Is there any further discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Phil. We're going to move over to the Finance Committee in 1 second, since we have Phil here, about the recycling is next, so proposed recycling policy. Or is that just for us, Marlene, to adopt the purchase?
That's for the Board of
Oh,
Selectmen
okay.
to review and approve.
All right. This is what we've already, we talked about. This is what Garrett had come in and Phil.
Phil and Garrett and I met a few weeks ago, and actually, the town does not have a recycled product procurement policy. And there are a number of grant opportunities that DEP offers to municipalities.
Yep.
And to be eligible for the grant or any kind of funding, there's a number of steps that we
Yep.
need to meet. This is one of them, adopting this policy.
And we love grants.
And many, yes. we
And
do.
it's also the right thing to do, to be
Right,
Yes.
so,
buying
this
recycled
this
products.
grant opportunity that's coming up, we're looking at two items that is offered, is handling mattresses and some kind of an equipment for the property.
But this has to be in place in order to
Yes, it does.
qualify for those.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And the town, either the Board of Selectmen or the Board of Selectmen either designate themselves or the town administrator to annually notify all departments as a reminder of this this policy.
So I'll make a motion that we adopt this recycled product procurement policy as presented and designate the town administrator to notify boards on a yearly basis, reminding them of these standards.
Done.
I'll second that.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Phil. All right, apologies, we're running a little late, so, but we're here with our friends from the Finance Committee to work on the articles for a special town meeting on June 25th. These would be the financial articles that we had to table at the last town meeting just due to not knowing the exact numbers of monies available to us to move forward, but we have a better idea of that now, and this is our last meeting before, we think, before a special town meeting, so we just wanted to be on TV, let everybody hear and see what we're discussing, and be ready to come in 2 weeks, 3 weeks for our special town meeting, which is very important, so I hope everybody can attend. So I don't know how you want to start, Daryl, or anybody?
Well, I guess I'll start by saying that we, the Finance Committee, did meet last Tuesday just to review what we had gone over 2 weeks ago. And so we did discuss a couple of different things, and I guess for the easiest thing is if everyone that's got a copy of the budget turns to page 9. And what we're talking about is the free cash. I'm pretty sure we'll vote on the budget. Well, there'll be a couple of little changes in the budget, but we're talking about free cash. So if everyone's there,
Bottom of the page.
the bottom of the page, it gives a list. It starts what our free cash number is, which is $717,981. And then it goes through how we're proposing at this point to spend the money. And I'll just go through them, and this is everything. This is some of the stuff that we agreed to long before our last town meeting, so just so you know. So we've got school department prior year expenses of $258.
Yep.
We got DPW prior year expenses of $3,000. We've got 18 budget deficits of $187,921.39, which I believe
163,000 of that is overlay.
is the overlay, and then the rest is,
Yeah,
snow
ice
and prior year snow and ice.
And town hall.
And town hall, right. We did have a school department deficit, but the school has elected to take care of that themselves. Then we have the paramedic equipment lease of $13,000. This is something we agreed to. When did we start this, Stephen? 3 years ago? Is this year 3? This is year 3 on this. Infiltration compliance study, $50,000. DP has been extremely nice to us, and they will not be nice anymore. Correct, Phil?
That is correct.
Is that just Colonial Acres, or is that the whole town?
It's the whole town.
So then we have information technology budget, $7,000. And we are actually proposing that we make that $14,000 and take care of all those workstations. As Diane pointed out to us, and you may want to speak on this, but there's been some issues in other towns, and, well,
Yeah,
go ahead,
really,
Diane.
It's been on the news, I'm sure you've seen it. Like the city of Baltimore is being held hostage by ransomware. And so anytime that your computer systems are old, you're just more vulnerable. So we just figured we might as well take care of it all.
Right, and so this original 7 was only half of what the
That's
request
right.
was, which was a
Right.
total of 14. So
Right.
it's, which we had purposely said, let's do half and half, and then
Right.
the finances changed, so we're able to actually accommodate all 14 now.
Yes, go ahead, sorry, Sean.
Just to clarify, the issue with that is partially that the version of the software, the Windows
Yeah.
software that we're using is not gonna be supported by Microsoft any longer.
That is correct.
So there won't be patches and updates and fixes that
That's the
help
issue.
to
That's the-
keep
that's
you.
the malware issue there.
Yeah, that help to protect you from those situations.
Right. So that's an additional 7, so, and then, the new ambulance,
That changes to 14,
So
right?
beyond
Yeah,
this
okay.
7, this should change to
Yeah,
14.
okay.
yeah, the 7 changes to
To
14. And then,
The balance at the bottom will be 9,802.
Correct.
Can I ask a question, Finance Committee and Marlene? That money for the workstations, does that include software? And software support? Or is it just the hardware?
Yes, it does.
Whose installation it's at.
Okay.
It's usually the annual software support that goes
That goes
along
with
with
it.
the acquisition of software as well. And it's included in it.
I'm pretty sure it is. I
That's
don't have
usually
that.
an annual thing, like Microsoft at this point? It's a
Is it an
subscription?
annual?
So, the software that we use, all the Microsoft Office stuff, comes through Paragus, it's a part agreement with Office 365.
Right.
So it just will allow us to run faster and better, it'll allow for it to run in the new version of Windows and for the better malware. But in terms of stuff like Office products and stuff like that, it already comes with our agreement with Paragus and Office 365.
okay, thanks. I'm gonna keep moving.
Yep.
New ambulance, 31,000 out of free cash for it, for the payment of 51,000 for this year. 20,000 is still gonna come from ambulance trust, and we are no longer having you take money from surplus. 350th anniversary, we had already agreed to the 25,000. Finance reserve budget, an additional $40,000, so that will give us a budget of 70. Community preservation, $46,000. The discussion was pretty simple. We have the money, we better pay them now, because we don't know if we'll have the money next year, so let's be done with that. Stabilization, 100,000 to go into stabilization. Town hall generator, electrical wiring, that's $11,000. It's kind of a no-brainer, since we're doing the work, it does not make sense to wait into another year
For the generator we are.
for the generator we already own, so, which would be useless without this work, so, yes. The school safety apparatus, $140,000, that's, John, you can help me, and Stephen, that's locks and blue lights and things like that. We felt, and the fire alarm panel, we felt pretty, you know, the feeling from us is, we've got the money, let's take care of it. We don't want there to be an issue at the school and have someone look back and say, oh, what, you didn't pay for that, so, anyway.
Can I just ask a question about that? There was some talk about a grant to offset that somewhat. Did you, I thought that was something we were going to find out about relatively soon. Oh, you haven't heard yet?
So, no,
Okay.
I was just going to say that, so the grant application's for roughly $30,000, but we have not been notified,
Right.
the school district hasn't been notified if they have or haven't
Okay.
received it.
That's fine.
Right, and I would assume if we get the grant, then that's $30,000 that we don't
Come back
have to
to-
spend,
right.
and, you know, otherwise, we have the money
Yeah.
to do it.
I mean, I
Sorry,
would want to
Diana.
move forward even at the 140. I was
Right.
just
Yeah.
curious, because it sounded like we were going to find out quickly.
I hope to know before town meeting.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
good.
That's
Okay,
great,
good.
so we might be able to reduce it at that point, so. And then the water main project at Straits Road, if you remember 2 weeks ago, Phil went back, did some more measuring and sharpened his pencil, and he came up with a number of $47,000, would be able to move the water line, I'm not sure how long, but enough to take care of the houses that need.
About 800 feet.
About 800 feet. Take care of the houses that will need to be covered. So then that gives us a balance, and Paul, what's our balance?
9,802. We were then also talking about the treasurer collector office with the tax title module they were suggesting would be extremely useful for $3,000.
Right, yeah, so, yeah, we got an email, and we wanted, yeah, thank you. We had Sharon and Lena were with us last week, and this is for the tax title stuff, so. Software. Module, right. So Sharon, why don't you?
Okay, so I did two things since we met last week. The question was kind of posed to us, like, how can we make our office more efficient, and what could help us the most in terms of productivity? Ed had made a good point about payroll, but we kind of looked at it from a little different perspective. So I got two quotes put together. The first one is for the tax title. We have about $500,000 outstanding in tax title at this point. So this program would get that consolidated so that it will do all of the record keeping for us and do all the sending the letters and all the things you have to keep track of.
Outstanding in tax title right
Thank
now?
you.
500,000.
500,000.
So this program would make it so that I can just put everybody, all the accounts that were in tax title before I started, and all the 50-plus accounts that I've put in the last year, and get people either on a payment plan or, with the proceedings, so we can start to turn that money back into the town hall, into our budget. So the good news is it's only $7,000 for the whole program. There's a couple different options on here. There's two payment options. The first one being more loaded up front, and then the other one's, divided over 3 years. The good news is we've been really conservative in our office and trying to save money. I can actually afford to pay for this out of the treasurer collector's budget line if I get the okay to use treasurer money for collector's cost. So it won't have to come out of anybody else's budget. We can afford to do this, just, we'd have to make a transfer through the accountant to, pay for that. I think it's a no-brainer, and that even includes putting the more money up front, that I have the $3,972 that you see in year one, and then it's just the year 2 and year 3 to kind of move forward with the tax title.
And we would deal with those in subsequent.
So that was, and now we have in my FY20 budget, you've already given me more money for tax title, number one, and we set up a revolving account so that going forward, as I bring money in, we can use the money I bring in to do this. We all know I brought in a fair amount of money in FY19 already, so we're not even touching any of the money for this that I brought in from in FY19. So this one's kind of like a no-brainer in my mind.
So so by doing it that way, then you don't need any free cash for this.
I don't need any free cash for this.
So you would take it from the treasurer expense line?
And I'd have to put it into the collector expense
Why don't
line.
you just change the budget?
Because it's FY19 money.
This year's
Right.
budget.
It's
Oh,
this
okay.
year's
So the
money.
Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen
But
vote to
if
transfer
you
that.
if you overspent the account
Right.
by accident,
Truthfully,
then at the end of
yes.
the year, we could transfer the money from the
Yes.
treasurers that is going to have excess money in it.
I could, but
Yes.
if you give the okay today, I can move forward and get this, the right way, go through and say to Justin, hey, we type up a little thing, you guys just okay it. I can get it moved forward quickly and easily and get this up and running, rather quickly, because this program is like amazing. I can't even tell you how excited I am about it.
It's a very small amount of money to potentially realize
Yes.
Yeah.
a huge amount of
Yeah.
money. This
Yeah.
is a no-brainer, as you say.
Kind of a
So,
no-brainer. So
are
why
you
don't-
looking for us just to do,
To
authorize that?
the transfer and say, Diana, you don't know this about me, I don't buy any programs or get anything unless I kind of have all your guys on board with it. I just don't feel from our department that's appropriate. So, yes, you're okay going this step. Like I said, there's a lot of money we can be collecting in all of this, and yes, you're okay to make that transfer, would be the
So we would make the transfer on the 19 budget or the 20 proposed?
19 budget.
19
On the
budget.
19 budget.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, because we're already at the end of the.
And we're at the
Right,
end
so
of
you
the
can do
year.
that now. You're legal to do that now.
Yes.
May, June, and July.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
I'm struggling with my budget income versus my free cash income.
Yes.
So when we sell a property
Yes.
that's been under tax title, that money goes into free cash
For next year.
for next year. But if we encourage people to create a payment plan to pay their back taxes, that comes in through the,
No, it would still go to free
Still
cash,
goes to free
except
cash.
for, now we have a revolving fund, so up to $25,000. If we had made
oh,
that,
okay,
made
that's
that,
what I didn't understand.
revolving fund last year,
Okay.
some of the money from the
Thank
sale of the house would have gone into
The
this revolving fund. There is no revolving fund, so we'll build that up as we go.
Okay.
And then when it's done, it will go to free cash in the following year.
Yeah.
So that's part one of, kind of my
Yeah, and-
conversation.
And, yeah, and part two, we thought was kind of outstanding.
So do we want to finish this
Yeah,
one
I-
before I go to the next
How
one?
much do you need to transfer?
Well, so it's
Oh, you need
$39.72,
the whole
so
amount.
I just do the whole amount, so it's nice, clean, it takes care of this one bill.
I'll make a
you know.
motion to transfer 3972 from treasurer's expense to collector's expense.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
And then-
You guys have to do it.
I'll make a motion to transfer 3972 from the treasurer to the collector
Correct.
for FY19.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Sharon.
That's great.
You're welcome. So that's,
Great.
and Mike whispered behind my ear, this is a
Windows-based.
window-based, but it's also internet-based, so you can access it from any computer. So like this summer, when we're doing renovations, I can access it from any computer. You don't have to be tied to a specific program. So then part two of that, obviously, we're talking wish list, so, but I think, again, this is kind of low money when it really looks down and you get the breakdown. So as you guys already know, we switched to Vadar for our accounting system with Justin and Bay State. So I am now kind of have my own relationship with Vadar in this tax title program. So while we were on the phone with them, thank you, I tried to find out what our next best options were, because to be honest with you, I spend my entire day working in a DOS-based program, and I can't tell you how painful that is, but that's the reality of my job as the tax collector, is to do that. So I asked the question, what does Vadar have next? Of course, I'm already on the phone talking about tax title, and they're like, oh, well, here's a really nice segue into the other things that they offer. So again, this is getting us into the next century and not using DOS. I mean, Point has done very well for us in past 20-something years since we got it. They are not moving that program forward. I think it's kind of, you think, they're just kind of letting it run its lifestyle out. So this company is the same one we use for accounting. It would be the same one we're using for tax title. So we'd just be adding the rest of the suites that they offer. So they have a component that will work for water and sewer. They have a component that will work for the assessor's office, and then another component that will work for the collector's office. The treasurer's office is already using Vadar because of the accountant switch we've already made. There is some upfront costs, obviously, to do this. They were nice enough to take it and make it a 6-year kind of contract over price-wise. So you only have to sign a 3-year contract, but they guarantee the costs for 6 years. So there's two options, one that again is, pretty expensive for the first year and then less for the rest of the years, or one that divides over the 6 years. So one of the questions, Louise sat in with me as my retiree expert, and we asked the question, well, what happens if we say in 3 years we don't want to continue? Well, they eat it. They eat the additional money because they're so confident that we're going to be happy, that we could just potentially walk away in 3 years. I don't think we would ever not be happy based on the things that we've seen. That part of it is also that after year one, it's expensive to get you to make the transfer, but then the yearly cost is less money than we're currently paying for our DOS-based program. So between the assessor's office, myself, and the water sewer department, we spend close to $17,000 between the 4 of us to pay to have this DOS-based program. This program, as you can see, will be $11,000 for next year. So if we can come up with year two, year one, you're still going to have to pay Point, and you're going to have to pay Vadar, and there's an additional cost in there. I I estimate between $10,000 and $12,000 to take our information out of Point. They are in the midst of doing 5 conversions currently from Point to Vadar, so it's a pretty close estimate because they know what all the other towns have been charging. And they get paid up front. So we tell them we're making the switch, they want their money before they give us our data. I guess that kind of makes sense. I can't tell you and enough about how amazing this program is. I mean, anybody who comes in and asks me to print anything, if I'm already posting bills, I have to stop because I'm in DOS. So there's no other way to search things. There's no other way to bring things up. Where this, I can be posting and then bring up the other screen and accept a payment and bring up your bills and print them for you. The other thing that it does that I was really impressed with was that, Sean comes in and says, what do I owe? Right now, I have to search every single payment type to make sure I didn't miss any bills for Sean Berry. But now I just type in Sean Berry and anything he potentially owes me for any year for anything comes up. So that's a really cool feature to me. But even more importantly, the fact that all the different file types talk to each other. Right now, if you buy a house in Hatfield, Jenny has to put in the address, then Sharon, the collector, has to put in the address, then Sharon, who takes the bills for the water sewer, has to put the address in, and then Tony has to handle that address too. So there's 4 times that address is potentially subject to a mistake. Where now, Jenny puts it in, it's all web-based, so she can just upload it and all of us get the new address. And right now, we only upgrade addresses twice a year because that's the only time my system and her system talk like that. This you can do weekly. So she puts in all the address changes, they automatically upload. So that was a pretty big, influencer for me as well.
Much more efficient,
Yeah.
Okay,
obviously.
so let's go over the costs.
Yep.
So,
Money man.
yeah, sorry.
No, you don't need
Dinner
to
man,
apologize.
too, so,
Are you a little hungry?
yes. Not, no, yeah, hangry, or however my kids say it, Dad. So year one, $26,634,
Or
Or
$10,400.
or 10,000.
Because,
And
but then
it's-
you'd have to do the additional point money.
So,
So,
Plus the 17.
right,
Can you spell out year 1 for all of us?
yeah, so year one,
Yep.
I left that in the back of the room.
Sorry.
Louise, help me if I forget anything. So year one, you're gonna pay for Point upfront for the 10,000, not Point, for Vadar, 10,400. Then you have to pay the $16,000 that we already do have budgeted
pay
in.
for point.
Yep.
For Point, so that
Yep,
money's
so that's a
already
wash,
a
or
wash.
if,
And
basically.
then there's an additional potential
that's
for
in your
12,000.
budget lines, that's in
Yes,
your budget.
current
It's already in the
But the
budget.
10,000 is not.
The 10,000 here is not, and the money to take out.
Conversion,
The conversion fee.
the-
So it's really
And
like
that's 12, you said?
What's the conversion fee?
12,000,
In addition,
exactly. So 22,000 additional than what I already have in my $16,000 budget, which gets you to the 40 that I mentioned in my email.
So we have $9,802 in free cash. Can you afford any other monies out of your budget?
Well, that, Ms. Louise is whispering now. I'll be honest that not
Yeah,
really, because we're running
well,
so tight already.
so-
But my thought, and I hate to tell you guys how to spend your money, is that we talked about, how much we put in your finance reserve, we're talking $10,000.
Yep.
That being said, my first way to propose this to you, when I originally sat down with Louise, was I brought in $100,000 of free cash for FY '20. If I wait to ask you for that money, then I can't make this conversion as, efficiently as I need to. If I do this, if you give me the okay to do this, I can get this up and running so that when December bills are printed, we're in the new system, up and running, and a go. We all know the luck we have. If we wait until the free cash for '20 comes, it's supposed to be August, September. What if it doesn't come until October, November?
okay.
And I think,
Go ahead.
just
What- what-
one quick little bit, is that one of the points that Vadar made is that the most efficient time to shut down the collections on Point and convert to the new system is late October, early November, when that second estimated bill is due. Then you have your shutdown period, your transfer, and then the new bills are issued. The actual bills for January 1st are issued through the new software. So when she talked about waiting for the next free cash, that means you're talking a year and a half from now before you would make this conversion.
No, that's too long.
And
Okay, hold on. You had a
I
question.
have one concern. So having done this kind of transition in a business environment, I did actually read the fine print because it was something I was concerned about,
Yep.
which is, I would be interested in knowing from Vadar, when they talk about the pricing, including data migration services, they're using words like basic and, you know, keep it simple, and that any additional data migration services will be quoted on a project basis.
Yes, and that is the money, the $12,000 that I'm putting in for Point.
That's for the
That
conversion
version
of Point,
Point.
the data that's in Point.
Okay, and they gave you that number?
Yes. They have converted 30 some odd.
That, yeah,
companies
'cause that's where
recently,
things
so
get
we
out of
don't
hand.
get the
From
number
Point to
from
Vadar.
Point to Vadar.
And so you're estimating that it would be less than 6 months to convert to Vadar?
Mike, we're gonna wait, okay? Let's keep the discussion with the finance committee and the select board right for a minute. So, how we go forward. So how much money do we need? We need the 10,000 plus the 22, you need 40?
No, I only need
22.
22.
You need 22, okay.
330.
So,
22,339.
so, options,
So have
we
9,000.
reduce from the 40,000 that we're gonna be putting in,
And stabilization.
in,
No, no.
No,
40,000 that we're.
reserves.
It's an option. You
No,
asked-
just wait, I was getting to
Oh,
that.
okay.
So we could reduce from the 40 that we were gonna, the additional 40 we were gonna put in finance reserve. We could reduce from stabilization, to Brian's point,
Or combination of.
or a combination of both. I mean, because,
Well, but you
Quite
can
on-
use the 9,800.
Yeah, you got 98.
So you've
Yeah.
got
Oh, yeah.
if you take the 22 and you deduct the 9,800 that's left, that we still
Yeah,
had to
right.
work with, you're only talking 11.
13-ish or,
22,000. Yeah, so
22,339.
13,000.
13.
So $12,537 we need to find. Assuming we're comfortable going to
12,537.
zero on our free cash.
yeah,
Yeah,
12,000 what?
537.
So what happens if the grant comes through and you'll have the extra 30?
Right.
Right.
Right, from the school.
From the school, it would just fall to free cash. That would be, that's okay.
No,
Right,
but if you're gonna amend
If,
that.
if we knew before,
Yeah, you could
yes,
amend both
yes,
articles.
we could amend it, yes, you,
That's what I would wanna
very
do.
good point, yes. So, what do you got, I mean, me personally, I was kind of stunned last week when she said, oh yeah, we're doing this from DOS.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh, and we had just talked about
You remember DOS, don't you?
upgrading. I remember DOS.
And carbon paper, too.
Mimeograph.
Well, this was she asked me to come in to look at the tax
Yeah.
title program, and when he was finished with the presentation, she said, well, what do you think? I said, I think you need to ask for new software for collections as well.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to be doing it the way you're doing.
Yeah.
And she didn't address this, but it's another key part. There will be a seamless transition from the collector to the treasurer to the accountant,
Yeah.
as opposed to everybody's doing this data entry over and
Yeah.
over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
Every time
it's so
I turn over
obsolete.
money, it goes right to the treasurer,
Improve
and then it
efficiency.
goes right to the accountant's office from there.
So I
So,
think Daryl said earlier about some other issues, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
This is pretty much a no-brainer.
yeah, it's pretty close. So, well,
Can I-
go
So
ahead.
I was just going to suggest, since it's a relatively small amount of money, just reduce the reserve, what you're putting into reserve by that amount, unless we can change those numbers on town floor based on what happens with the school grant.
We could.
So we would reduce finance reserve from
From 70,000.
the 40,000 that's been allotted out of free cash
Right.
To 27.
to 70.
So
27.
mine is 12,537.
Paul's got it.
So it's down to 27,463.
But
Okay.
there's
9,800.
also already money in reserve.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's already 30,000.
Yeah, which
in
which
reserve.
instead of 70,000 would make us 52,000,
Right.
so.
But we might not have to do this at all. if-
Right. if the
Yeah,
school
we might
things
not
are-
have to do it at all.
That's what I'm saying, just put it that
And-
way tentatively.
And to Brian's point, we could do this from stabilization too.
Yeah, I was just throwing,
Yeah.
whatever makes sense. I was
So-
just,
Well, not yet.
Huh?
Not from stabilization.
No,
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 From the money.
from what, from the money we're
would rather
going.
leave that
Right,
number
but,
where it is.
yes,
Okay, all right,
good clarification.
so.
I'll make a motion.
Are you guys okay with that?
That we, do we have to motion? We can just change.
No, we're just changing.
So we're just gonna change finance reserve budget.
Are,
Yeah.
you guys are okay with that?
We're gonna
Okay,
lower
Mike, I'm
that.
sorry, I
Lower that
you
to
had a question?
27.
My question was conversion period, and if that's done in 3 to 6 months, why do we need to pay point for a full year of software?
But
So
we
we could
can't,
get a reimbursement
we
from
could,
them at some
yes.
point, so there may
Yes.
be some money coming back as a
Yes.
result of that.
but I can't estimate what that money
Yeah,
is yet.
and then the other is I guess the staff efficiencies that we're gonna gain as a result of this.
Right.
The productivity efficiencies are gonna be fairly substantial, so there is
Sounds it.
that benefit, which is kind of hard to
37?
calculate, but that's gonna be there.
At some point, we're
That's
losing
the
it.
number I got.
Yeah.
So we need to make it more efficient.
Yeah, exactly, so do more or less.
Is done for the
Still
water
works.
meter reading will
Yep,
work.
Yep,
with the
I've
new
already
software.
had conversations with Tony and with
I just
Vadar.
wanna make sure it will load in.
Nope,
Yeah,
already part of the conversation about making that change. And, because that was my biggest fear, like, we've already spent all that money. It will work, no problem.
Vadar has worked with Patriot Products that does the assessing, so that is not an issue either.
yeah.
So there's support that goes on into the future.
Yep, already built into this.
Already built
So, you
And
know,
then
I'm
next-
already using Vadar for all the
Right.
accounting stuff, so I've already have
And
it,
then next year, you'll be able to absorb most of this cost right out of your budget.
exactly.
Probably
And-
all
Well-
All of it, more than all
Well,
of it.
all of it, but with the caveat that,
$500,000,
well, for two things, because that, now it'll only be $11,000.
Yeah.
Right now, we have that divided, we probably still want to keep some of it divided with water sewer, so they're paying for a portion of the
Yeah.
assessor.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be less, but we should still divide that bill, and I are
Right, but the total
perfectly
that we're paying is 17,000
versus 11.
versus 11
Yeah.
out of whoever's budget.
Exactly, I just don't want it to all be the collector's budget.
No,
No, we get that.
Yeah.
I guess it goes without say, there'll be this is a multi-workstation software package.
Yeah, it says here.
And how about training? Is there training involved?
Yep, and so right now, I've put in for 4 users, we may say we need a 5th one, and as you can see, it's 2,100 for 4, they're charging us for 3. It's a simple phone call if we really find that we're running into overlap, because I can see Jenny being in it, myself being in it, Edwina being in it, and Tony being in it, so that's why I picked 4. Is there a potential maybe that you might need a 5th? We'll see, but that's something I don't want to spend that money if we don't need to, when we know we'll have free cash next year if we need a little.
Department link into this?
That's a whole separate
That's a
conversation.
whole different conversation.
All right,
Not for today.
thank you, Sharon.
Any other questions?
No, thank you for doing all the
Of course.
legwork on that. You too, Louise.
Thanks, Louise.
All right, so that essentially eats up our free cash. The only other thing I wanted we need to touch on, and I want to make sure, so as far as the budget goes, the 14,000 for the workstations goes in the budget.
Correct.
And then Stephen's budget, the fire chief's budget, is going to change a little. You wanted $6,000,
Right, and that has been adjusted.
and that's been adjusted?
The ambulance expense, yes.
Yeah.
Right,
And that project looks like it's coming in $10,000 underneath, but we'll just keep that there because that returns the ambulance surplus anyway.
yep, okay, all right, just checking to make sure. Okay, was there any other budgetary items that we needed to address? Any other free cash things that we need to address?
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
So, in the chief's here, I guess I just am wondering regarding the jaws of life. I mean, we've pushed that off now a few years.
We had a discussion about this last week, and we talked about this extensively. Well, we talked about it pretty well. And we understand that the jaws of life, as we understand it now, are functional. we understand that they probably need to be replaced. It really came down to talking about the needs on Straits Road versus Jaws of Life. And to be honest with you, if something happens during the year and those Jaws of Life blow up, we can probably figure out how to resolve that a lot easier than trying to fix Straits Road in the middle of the year. Is that fair and accurate as to how we talked about that?
You know, my only concern though, Daryl, is we're not gonna know if the Jaws of Life blow up till they're in the midst of trying to be used.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So, I haven't discussed this with Stephen yet, because I'm trying to get some numbers out of the lease company. But Stephen has a quote for the ambulance, which might be a little bit less.
Yeah, it's 10,000.
Okay, so I'm talking with the lease company to include a piece of equipment into the lease for the ambulance, which would be the Jaws of Life.
Oh.
So if that happens and the Jaws of Life is 48,000, so we're talking maybe out of the 7-year lease, what, how much a year, not much, cheap money. So if he can save 10, we probably can include that into that lease program.
When will we know?
Because we've done that before in the past with a piece of equipment for
Okay.
a certain,
associated with whatever it.
right,
the-
right, like the payloader will say,
Yeah.
we got an extra bucket or whatever.
Forks or
I'm firm that what we did is this, so I talked to you about a 3.5% increase. So I had a 287 quote for the ambulance itself.
Yeah.
And we were looking, we have radios too. So, we met with the vendor, we talked about 3.5% were coming. Deputy Flaherty and I met with them, we cut stuff, and we got a new quote of actually 285. That's including the 3.5% increase. So we actually probably cut $12,000 out of it. Which I feel good about. I have an $8,800 radio quote right now, and that's $6,000. So I'm gonna be, the project is gonna be about 293, not 305. So there's a little bit of room there. And that's where it stands today. So that's where, I hadn't spoke with Phil about this at all.
That would cover your Jaws of Life.
That would cover the Jaws of Life.
Right, I'm just trying to get
For one anyway.
I'm trying to get a firm answer out of the lease company to include that piece of equipment.
Yeah, you're right, Brian, that would do it for year one. We would have to commit to the 7 years, which probably
It would be
won't.
folded into lease.
It'll be
Yes,
folded into
yeah,
the lease.
I mean,
right.
into the,
So the original lease,
Right, but we found the money this year. The question next year, well, how we're funding, we're obviously gonna pay for it next year, but, our funding.
But
I
it's
mean,
gonna-
once you sign a
right, but it's-
7-year
I mean,
agreement,
we're
you're
gonna
kind
get
of
it for 7 or
obligated to pay
8,000,
it.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to vote the lease, though. It's a 7-year lease.
It's a
we have to
7-year
vote the
lease, that has to go to town floor.
Well, we
So,
would have had to find the money, we would have had to find that anyway.
Anyway.
If there wasn't a price reduction for the full
Right.
7 years
Right.
anyway.
Yes, agreed. So Phil, when do you think they might let
I'm
you know?
hoping that by the end of this week we'll know.
so would we need a separate,
Just gonna ask.
No,
They'll lump it
Article-
in, it'll be
no.
part of the ambulance, is that?
so we won't need a separate article on town
You need
floor?
an article, you're talking about leasing for the Jaws of
well,
Life.
no, I'm talking about leasing the ambulance with
Oh,
the
part
Jaws
of
of
the-
Life, so it'll be
oh,
part
okay.
of the ambulance lease.
It'll be one package.
Okay, so we have an article on the warrant
Rent
for the
to buy.
new ambulance.
For
to
a
lease
7-year
that for
lease,
7
right, and then you
years.
have the other leases for 5 years for the school van.
Just like we have radios included with the ambulance, right?
So it's considered like an
Yes, the radios
accessory
are
to the
included.
ambulance?
Yes.
Right, so we're not having a separate article for the
Okay,
radio.
yeah.
It's like when we buy
Yes.
I'll just give you an example, when we buy a dump truck. So you order the dump truck as a whole to the lease company, but out of that whole comes separate vendors.
Accessory,
So you have the frame and chassis, you have the body, you
Right.
have the sander, you have
Under
the,
right.
you have the radio, so it's all
Snow
separate
plows.
Okay.
vendors. All they care about is the bottom line, to say, give you the money for the lease.
So it can be part of a loan.
Correct.
Stephen,
It sounds like a great idea. Like I said, I'm down 10,000, I knew that's, I'm very confident in those figures. So if you're talking 40, you're only at 30,000 additional, that's, yeah, I think it can work.
yeah.
And I don't, obviously I don't wanna, you know, I know we talked, the jaws, they function, they don't function as well.
Right.
You know,
You can't get parts for
in
them,
full
right?
disclosure, they work, but if they don't work, they don't work well on modern cars, they're 20-something years
Yeah,
old.
right.
So we did have a case where we had a lot of difficulty utilizing them. So it is what I would obviously appreciate.
Yeah, well, and it was the last thing
Right.
that we talked about.
Yeah,
And that was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Where we were going if we
Yeah,
had the money.
it's absolutely, and
Yeah.
I just want a hydrant on a straight road. The water line goes in like one hydrant. and
I do believe
it goes
that's
in.
part
It
of
is.
what
It's part
you
of it.
do.
You can use Diana's faucet.
Right.
But, yeah, you know, obviously, but I'm sure that's an issue.
Yeah, I believe there's a hydrant going in.
Well, let me just, and I'll surely share any information I get from the lease company if it works. That's great,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome. Nice job, Phil. That's
Yeah,
a good.
great,
that's a
thanks,
good,
Phil.
good
That's,
job, Steve.
that's great. We
Yeah.
don't- So, yeah, that's good. Okay. So I guess what's next is we have to just approve this budget.
So the way, are we gonna, or were you proposing just taking this as one lump motion? Because there's an article here there's something here I need to recuse myself from.
I was hoping to do it in one lump motion
Yeah.
instead
But
of,
we
But
have to
each-
do it
each
too, right?
article, though,
Or
is-
does it just the finance committee?
Yeah, because each one of these is going to be an article. I mean, you can do the financial part of it in one lump sum. but
Okay,
We still
yeah.
are going to have a separate
All right.
article for each.
So let's take up the budget first. The budget, which would not include a lot, it would include some of this, but not
Right.
the other
The
capital.
14,000.
Yeah, the 14,000,
includes-
right,
That's probably.
that's about it. So,
Finance reserve.
Oh, yeah, the finance.
and the finance reserve, that number is
27,
27.
463.
Yes.
463 or 563?
463.
All right, so long as somebody's writing it down. Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion to approve the budget as proposed.
Including the free cash designations.
No,
No.
no, we'll do the
Just
free
the
cash,
budget.
just the budget.
Including the amendment to the finance reserve, right?
It includes the amendment to finance reserve, it includes the 14,000 for,
The $7,000 amendment.
yeah, the 7,000, the additional
And the
7,
amendment on the ambulance.
and the amendment on the ambulance, which Marlene has already changed in this
And
budget.
then $22,339 for Vadar.
Right,
Oh,
that's on free cash.
Correct, but that's
But
what,
it's got to be in the budget.
Right, it's right here.
the
Chairman
22,
just asked for $22,339.
right, but we're
You're
not,
going to transfer that, aren't you? Is that for
We're-
this budget?
So that's coming out of.
That's
Just
coming
fiscal
from
year
finance
20?
reserve.
that's
to
coming
Veda.
from finance.
You're going to transfer that. That's the 19 expense. you're talking
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're talking about,
No,
about.
no,
This budget.
this is,
next
we're
year.
talking about
Okay.
the 20 budget,
Okay.
and these guys are right.
The transfer is the
The-
other money.
The
Right.
transfer is the other money, so we're reducing our finance reserve by,
Okay, by $12,537.
and adding that to Sharon's,
Okay,
to
understand.
the treasurer line, right?
Collector.
The collector's office, okay, that's
And then
the,
the other 9,802 will go under collector too.
Yeah.
we already did, and that we already transferred, that's this year.
Right,
No, that's out of free cash.
Correct.
no, you're
No.
talking about two different things.
Yeah, we're conflating.
This is getting.
Yeah.
We already did the
You're correct.
transfer.
The 3972 is from this year, not next year.
The
That's done.
module is coming out of fiscal 19.
Yes,
Yeah.
Module for tax title is going to come out of fiscal,
right.
Yeah.
This year.
I got that.
yes, and
Yeah.
FY '20, you're going to take the
Yeah,
12,000
we,
whatever.
yeah,
537.
And the 9,802 that was left of free
Remaining,
cash, so you have to
yes.
make a
Right.
line on
oh,
there.
right.
I just
Oh,
wanna
yeah,
make sure
so, yes, the
Okay.
9,802
It's gone.
plus the 12,000.
537.
537.
537, which gives a total of
2339.
22,339.
For the collector's software package.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Okay.
And that's part of the budget,
Right, expense,
I need to say whatever
budget
they said.
expense, okay,
okay.
all right.
So moved, whatever you said.
So moved, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
So now we do it.
Now you guys get to do
You
it.
want to make the motion, Ed, or you want me to make the motion? I'll make the motion to do whatever the finance committee just did.
Voting the revised budget, the amended budget, the amended budget.
As
Amended
amended by the finance committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Is there any further discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we can go through the articles which will address all the free cash items.
Are you going to take them up individually, or are you going to?
Yes.
Yeah,
usually do that,
we
yeah.
usually do, so that will allow
Okay.
you to be able to
Okay.
Yep.
recuse yourself. Right, go ahead. All right,
So do you guys have the articles in front of you? It has a number 4 on it from our packets anyways. Yep.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
not going through this list?
Well, we're
It's
gonna
all
go
on
through-
here?
Your warrant,
Yep.
the
The warrant
Okay.
itself.
Usually vote those free cash things separately, or we just go through the list and say we're gonna approve numbers 1, 2, 3, 7, recommend. Isn't that how
Oh,
it-
recommendation?
yeah, we're just gonna recommend, right?
Right.
Well, I'd
Because when
recommend
we
everything to
approve
do with the
That
budget.
includes all the free cash stuff, right?
Well, it didn't this time,
Oh, okay.
but we can do it.
I don't care, I just wanna make sure we also recommend the warrant articles at some point, if we haven't.
Let's,
Well,
we
some of
could,
them have changed, right?
we
So-
can make
right.
we, the finance committee, can make a motion to spend the free cash as we have discussed tonight,
Yes.
right? Which would include all these things.
Items as listed.
Items as listed, and the new one would be
You
the
guys get out of
Vadar thing. All right, so do you want to do that? Do you want to make that motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we appropriate the free cash as listed in the page 9 of the budget.
With amendments.
It's up to the selectmen as to whether they want to have an individual article for each one of
Right.
those, or whether they
No,
want
yeah,
to-
Right.
that's right,
They could bundle them as well.
yeah.
One article, if you want.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah, they could.
yeah.
We've done it.
Okay, so motion has been made, did I?
I'll
someone-
second it.
I got a second, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so that was free cash, so do you wanna, Brian, do you wanna just go through the articles and?
Sure.
Yeah, are we gonna vote to recommend or not recommend these? Because
Yeah.
they're all different numbers now, too.
They are different numbers, or they're
Yeah.
blank on here
Yeah.
because we're gonna have to pop the
So
number
Article
in.
1 is the 153,
Yep.
that's the,
That's money coming to the town.
We want to accept it.
we
We're
wanna
accepting,
accept
right.
it, so.
Yes.
So we would
recommend that.
recommend that. Article 2 is the prior year school,
Yeah, and that's going to be $200 and something dollars.
$258.
Right.
Right.
So I assume we're
We're
recommending that.
recommending that.
Article 3 is a prior year, that's DPW expense, and that's the $3,000.
Recommend that.
We would recommend that.
Cross-reference though.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Article 4 is the
Spelled out for us.
$187,921, that's the abatement, snow and ice, and town hall operations deficits.
Yep.
Recommend that.
Okay. That was deficits for this year.
FY
18.
We're going to take these up later, right?
Those were 18?
Deficits,
We're going to do this
yes.
later.
Oh, that's
18
Yeah, we're in the
deficits.
that's 18, thank you.
Because I have to take, one, I have to recuse myself. Okay, okay,
Okay, so
Okay.
Article 5
okay.
is, what is that?
It's water and sewer.
Water,
FY19 water and
FY
sewer.
19, oh, that's the 100,000, yeah,
Thousand, yeah.
okay, so we're recommending that.
100,000.
That's the one coming from
From the
the
surplus.
enterprise fund, right?
Yes.
That,
Okay.
yeah,
Water
that,
retained, water
that's
and sewer
coming from
retained
water
earnings.
Thank
retained
you.
earnings.
Retained earnings.
Article 6
So we're
is,
recommending, okay,
yes,
Mm-hmm.
is the school van.
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Please.
But that's not on here.
Which the
This
schools are
committee
going to take care
recommends
of.
that, right?
which the school is, John's, you've got money for that.
For the van.
Just making sure, we're gonna get asked. Okay. Article 7 is the 13,000 for the paramedic equipment.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Recommend.
we recommend that. Article 8 is inflow I&I.
50,000.
50,000, yes,
Yeah.
recommend that.
Yep.
Article 10 is the new ambulance, which now hopefully will include the Jaws of Life.
It's Article 9 then.
It's
It's
actually
Article 9.
now, yeah.
Changed, right?
Yep, Article 9.
Mhm.
So I assume we're
I would
recommending that.
recommend
Yeah.
that. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Okay. Article 10 is the electric work for the generator.
So that's
11,000.
$11,000.
That's 11, yes.
Okay.
11 is the
140.
140,000 for the schools for security and,
Maybe get something.
and,
And it might be smaller,
yeah, but, right.
okay.
Article 12 is the 800 feet water line on Straits Road,
47,000,
47,000,
I would recommend that.
yes. 13 is
100,000 to stabilize.
100,000 to stabilization. Now, that's just going to the regular stabilization fund,
Yep.
That's
right?
That's awesome.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Article 14 is the
14's a good one,
46,000
too.
for the
Yep.
community preserve
Yes.
CPC.
Yes, I would recommend that.
Yep.
Article 15 is the 25,000 for the 350th committee.
Yep.
Now, where did I go? Article 16 is
Yes,
The unemployment,
unemployment. What is,
Right, that's 20,000.
where's that? Where's that coming from?
where's that money coming from?
it's in the
That-
budget.
That's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
Taxation.
Oh, all right.
Okay,
Yes, I remember talking about it.
okay. So we're recommending that. So,
This is just the enterprise funds? The,
And 17's the normal.
Article 17 is the budget.
The normal budget.
17 is
budget.
the budget,
Yep.
and I'm just going through, so we got everything.
From all possible resources.
Straits Road, school safety, generator, stabilization, finance reserve, the work inflow. The Vadar thing, we do not need an article, we're just, that's,
Putting it in the budget.
that's in the budget.
Right.
Okay.
So, we didn't miss anything, right? We've essentially spent $717,981.
well, we didn't spend it all, we saved 100,000.
That's true.
Right.
Yes.
Actually,
27,000.
$27,463.
Yeah.
How did we save it?
Because we put it in stabilization.
Oh, because we put it in
Finance
the,
reserve.
in
We
finance
put it in our
reserve.
bank account.
Yes, in our bank account. All right,
Okay, yes, that sounds good.
so,
Does the 27, does that need something to go back into finance reserve? Did we
No.
talk-
No, we're
no,
gonna
it's
wait
part of the
here.
budget,
Well, it's the overall budget.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a separate.
doesn't need a
Okay.
special
Just wanted to make
assignment.
sure we didn't. Thank you.
So we're meeting, the meeting is the 25th,
Fifth.
which is a Tuesday. It's gonna be at the elementary school.
It's actually going to be at Smith Academy.
Smith Academy.
We had talked about the elementary school, and John feels it would be better at the,
At Smith
Academy.
Academy. Okay, we're planning to meet at 6 o'clock like we usually do,
We should, I think,
just in case? Okay,
Yes.
so
And
that,
when will we be having another meeting? Because I enjoy this.
We have at least 3 or 4 weeks out.
Okay, I just want to find out. I mean, because we want to continue to talk about sewer water rates.
Yes.
And when loans are going to come off the books and what we should be doing with that money.
Some big picture items
Right.
for the future.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then we'll have to get together in theory to do year-end
Year-end
transfers
So,
and.
I'd like to get that on the calendar if I can.
We
'cause
can put that in the calendar.
What would you recommend, second week of July?
But the year-end transfers have to be done before July 15th.
That's why I said the second week of July.
Not the first week.
That'll be July.
July.
July 9th or 11th?
Is this
What's
a
the
meeting we
ninth?
The
attend with
9th
them?
is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so we jointly sit down and it
Okay.
really depends when Justin
Yeah.
is
Gives everybody
ready.
their budgets or their final,
So we could plan to meet the first or second week of July.
Yeah, we talked about the
July
9th.
Ninth.
Sorry.
Daryl's gotta go home and eat.
Oh, July
I
9th.
can't
about July
multitask
9th?
like all you guys. Trying to put stuff in here, I can't listen, you know.
Here.
Can't chew gum and walk.
All right, all right. Finance Committee, July 9th.
is that a Tuesday?
Yes, it is.
It's a
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Okay,
Excuse me.
all right.
Let's see, 6:30?
You wanna
Do you
do
want to make it 6:35 so you can grab some dinner?
6:30?
I have 6:30.
You guys are so nice. Yeah, no, 6:30 is just fine.
Okay. Thank you, that makes me feel better, because I want to make sure we get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah. 6:30. I mean, my phone already puts it in for 3 hours. I hope it doesn't
Ooh,
take us 3
yikes.
hours.
Okay,
All right.
so-
I just plan on being with you guys every Tuesday.
Ah, that's fun.
Tuesday before, right?
Like being on the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Finance
you,
committee,
guys.
very
John, why don't we
Thank
take 2
you.
minutes? Okay, so thank you very much. We'd like to thank the Finance Committee for all their hard work and efforts and working so well with the Board of Selectmen. So the townspeople just heard the Finance Committee go through, along with the Board of Selectmen, the proposed town meeting articles, but we really hadn't taken any sort of an action or a vote yet, so we're going to do that now. So I'll make a motion to, and we're going to do it in pieces. I'll make a motion to approve Articles 1 through Article 11 as proposed. These are the
second
same
that.
articles we just went through. There's a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. I'll make a motion to approve Article 12.
I'll second that motion.
I'm abstaining. I want to make sure it's noted that I'm abstaining from that
Okay.
article.
Thank you. Is there any further, so motion made and seconded, is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With one abstention. And I'll make a motion to approve Articles 13 through 17.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right. So I just need to get my paperwork back in order a little bit. We've been jumping around. So actually, Marlene, looks like we might be going through the appointments
Yes.
under the town administrator item.
Mr. Chairperson?
Oh, yeah, Mike.
Just for the benefit of the public, people who are watching, when is the town meeting, where is it going to be, and what time?
Oh, we just said that a
Did
little
you-
while ago. We just said that.
Said that, but
Maybe you did, but I...
that's all right. So Mr. Cahill has asked, and we will just reinforce it for the townspeople. It's going to be on Tuesday, June 25th at 7 PM at Smith Academy. And this is about the budget. So it's a very important meeting. It's a special town meeting. These are all the items that we had to table from town meeting back in May. So we hope that as many people as possible will come out to this town meeting. Once again, Tuesday, June 25th, 7 o'clock at Smith Academy. So, thank you. Yep, you're welcome. Okay, Marlene, under the town administrator report, we've got a few appointments.
We have a number of appointments, and
Yes.
I would request that the board vote to approve the following appointments. We had a vacancy, additional vacancy that just occurred on the Council on Aging Board, and you have a letter of interest submitted by Cindy Doty, and also a letter from the acting chair of the Council on Aging that the Board of Directors voted unanimously to recommend Cindy Doty to represent the Council on Aging.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we appoint Cindy Doty to the Council on Aging.
I'll second
Is there a
that
second?
motion.
Is there any discussion?
No.
I just think that's a great appointment.
It's a wonderful.
Cindy's likes and enjoys working with the COA. So is there no other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. You'll let Cindy know, Marlene?
Yes, she'll receive an appointment.
I don't know, does Lydia need, does she have to get sworn in for that? Probably?
She does.
Okay,
When she
so-
receives her appointment, she'll see the town clerk.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What else you got?
The next appointment is the Board of Selectmen's rep to the Emergency Management Planning Committee. That generally has been the town administrator, but it certainly can be a member from a Board of Selectmen member.
I've been shorter, so I can take that if you guys want, because you guys took up the other
It's
stuff.
up to you.
I'll
Yeah.
take that.
What do they meet, once a month usually, Marlene?
They were
Roughly,
meeting
or is it-
quarterly. They were
Oh,
meeting
quarterly?
quarterly,
All right.
but they're also looking at maybe just 2 meetings a year.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion that Ed Jaworski be appointed as the Board of Selectmen rep to the Emergency Management Planning Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
All those in favor? Aye.
And I would ask that the Board of Selectmen appoint Paul Fisher, the Finance Committee rep, to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded to appoint Paul Fisher to the Capital Planning Committee as the Finance Committee rep, which he currently serves as, by the way. Not that that matters, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we'll let Paul know that. All right.
The next item on the agenda, Select Energy Pilot. So at town meeting, we had an article that did pass authorizing the Board of Selectmen or any other town officials to negotiate or enter into an agreement with Select Energy. This is regarding the solar project at Smith Academy.
Right.
And a pilot payment in lieu of taxes, and it's on the equipment, the property. And so the next step is for the Board of Selectmen to designate the individuals to negotiate that agreement with Select Energy.
I just have a question. I mean, doing a little research, I've seen that these committees for pilots, usually like one member from the board, one member from the assessors,
Yeah.
the town administrators, so maybe that's the way we should go with it.
The last time the town negotiated an agreement, there was a representative from the Finance Committee, a member of the Board of Selectmen, myself. The assessors have an outside consultant that they use, and that person had worked with the town. And I spoke with the assessor's office, and they will be willing to provide assistance or
be 4?
guidance.
Usually it's odd
It
numbers.
was really just 3. The outside consultant did not attend the meetings we had. He just basically, actually, I don't even think he attended the first meeting. He provided information via email. So I would expect that that's, information from the consultant that they use be submitted from their office.
I don't have,
I don't have a problem with that either. I guess the only thing I would say is that unlike the other solar projects in town, which are for-profit solar farms, not that this one's not, by the way, but this solar project is going to be on the roof of Smith Academy, and its purpose is to lower Smith Academy's electric rates for the next 20 to 25 years. So having said that, it's a little bit different. I mean, yes, it's a pilot, but it's different in the sense that they're not out to make money off of the general public. They're actually out to save the school department money. So whoever we appoint to be on this committee, I just hope that they would keep that in mind. And it's not about making, it's not about the town making money in lieu of taxes, in my opinion. It's more about working with Select Energy to make sure that whatever monies we can are filtered through saving the
Well, can
the
I ask a-
energy at Smith Academy, at the
I mean,
electricity.
since you were on the ground level on this project, do you want to continue on this?
I don't have a
I
problem.
think you'd be great.
Oh, man. What did you guys, two of you talk before we had this meeting?
No.
That's fine. I have
course
no,
not.
I have no problem representing the Board of Selectmen, but, so, okay,
I'll make a
thanks.
motion that Brian's our rep for this pilot project.
Okay. Thank you.
Second.
So Marlene, I'll work with Jenny or whoever she says from the assessor's office and
She said
yourself
that they
and-
would be willing to assist.
Okay, in whatever we need type thing? All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll need to get with,
Somebody from finance?
and we'll need to talk to Matt Schwartz. Right? I mean, we're going to meet
We will meet with
together,
Matt
and then Matt's
Schwartz,
actually
yeah.
working for Select Energy. Yeah.
He's from Select Energy.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And then if we want, well, we can't appoint someone, we can ask if somebody from finance wants to be part of it.
Okay, Sean Barry had
Yeah.
been on that previously, but
Oh, he'd
But-
be good at that.
Yeah, and the other thing is
I really,
John just stepped out for a moment, but I think the idea is they're looking to hit the ground this summer
Right.
to start.
and honestly,
building.
I don't think this will take very long.
I don't think it'll take very long, but, during the Division of Local Services, their guidelines as it relates to pilot programs, we're just going to follow those guidelines and make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's, so. All right, thanks, you guys. So I will keep our board abreast of what transpires
Thank
with
you.
this. You're welcome. No. I was just saying that, so Ed and Diane have asked me to be the Board of Selectmen rep. It'll be Marlene, maybe Jenny, or someone in the assessors, maybe one of the finance members, and either yourself or somebody. We just want to sit down and follow the guidelines that the state has put out for Division of Local Services, and make sure we're all on board, and then we'll talk with Matt and see what the deal is, so, okay? Yep, as always, I know, thank you. All right, so we'll move forward with that. Old business. We have a request from the 350th Steering Committee.
So this came up at our last meeting.
Right.
I can shed some light on this.
Okay.
So-
So the reason I was
Yep.
late was because I was at the 350th meeting, and I did think this started at 6:30, and I thought I could be there for 15 minutes. And so we talked about this. What we're not going to move forward on it just now.
Oh.
We're going to try to think about maybe changing the meeting date of that committee because of me now being on the board, and we would have a perpetual conflict because we meet on Tuesday night. So we're going to, that's on hold. It's just on
Okay.
hold for now.
Initially there were two different requests. So one was to add some floating alternate
Yep,
positions.
not
That's
gonna
what's
do-
on hold?
Yep.
How about adding two alternates now with the names that are presented? Are we
No,
still
we're not
moving?
doing
We're not doing any
alternates.
of these things?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
No, but there will be
More to-
some people coming forward
Gotcha. Okay.
to
Right,
join the committee.
because there will be a
Right.
vacancy.
Right, there's a
the town,
vacancy,
yeah.
and then we'll fill that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Marlene, do you have anything else?
That is all I have. This.
Any unanticipated new business? Ed,
Not that I know of.
do you have anything else for our meeting? Diana?
I
you're
do
good?
not.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is
I'll
there a
second that
second?
motion.
Nicely done. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. So.